Tonight's story is not just another urban legend. It's a chilling true experience told in the first person. A quiet family home, an ordinary life, and a shadow that appeared only after midnight. This is the story of the White Lady at My Window. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare yourself for a night you'll never forget. I grew up in a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind of place where nothing much happens. Everyone knew each other. Kids played in the street until the streetlights came on, and the biggest excitement was when the ice cream truck rolled by in summer. My parents bought our house when I was about 7. It wasn't anything special, just a 2-story home with a small front yard, a big oak tree, and windows that looked out onto the street. I shared a room with my younger sister, Mia, until I was 12. Then, my parents let me move upstairs into the spare bedroom. That room had one big window facing the front yard. I liked that window. On warm nights, I'd open it and let the cool breeze in. Sometimes I'd just sit by the sill, staring at the streetlights and listening to the faint hum of cars in the distance. For years, nothing strange ever happened. Nothing. Until the summer I turned 15. It was just after midnight. I was lying in bed, half asleep, when I heard a faint tapping on the glass. At first, I thought it was just a tree branch brushing against the window. But when I looked, the branches were still. The sound came again. Tap, tap, tap. I sat up, heart racing. Slowly, I turned my head toward the window. There was nothing there. I shook it off, convinced it was just my imagination, and went back to sleep. But the next night, it happened again. This time, the sound wasn't just tapping. It was more like fingernails dragging lightly across the glass. I didn't tell anyone. Honestly, I didn't want to sound crazy, but it became a pattern. Every few nights, I'd hear something outside my window. A scrape, a knock, sometimes even a whisper that was so faint I thought I must be dreaming. And always, it happened after midnight. One night, I finally worked up the courage to open the blinds while the sound was happening. I'll never forget what I saw. There was a woman standing in the yard. She was dressed in white, a long, flowing gown that almost shimmered under the streetlight. Her hair was dark, hanging loosely over her face, and her head was tilted upward, staring directly at my window. She didn't move. She didn't blink, just stood there watching. I froze. My body screamed to move, to shout, to wake my parents, but I couldn't make a sound. After what felt like forever, I yanked the blinds shut and crawled into bed, pulling the blanket over my head like a little kid. The next morning, I told my mom. She laughed. "You've been watching too many horror movies," she said, ruffling my hair. It was probably just a neighbor walking home. But deep down, I knew what I saw. Over the next week, things escalated. I started waking up to find the window slightly open, even though I swore I had locked it. The curtains would shift as if someone had just stepped away. Once, I woke up with the faint smell of earth and damp grass in my room, like the scent had drifted in from outside. I tried to convince myself it was stress, or maybe I was sleepwalking. But then Mia, my sister, said something that chilled me to my core. We were eating breakfast when she casually mentioned, "I had the weirdest dream last night." A lady in a white dress was standing outside my window. She kept pointing up to your room. My spoon clattered against the bowl. "What did she look like?" I asked. Mia shrugged. "I don't know, pale." Her face was blurry. It creeped me out. I told her not to talk about it again, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. That same night, I heard the scraping again. Against my better judgment, I peeked through the blinds. The woman was closer this time, right beneath the window. Her face was pale, her eyes dark hollows, and her mouth was open too wide, like she was silently screaming up at me. I stumbled back, knocking over a chair. My dad came rushing in. "What's going on in here?" he demanded. There's someone outside," I cried, pointing at the window. He looked. He sighed. "There's no one there." But I knew better. And when he left the room, I swear I heard a whisper drift through the glass. "You saw me." I stopped sleeping with the blinds open. I stopped opening the window altogether. But it didn't matter. One night, I woke up to a sound that made my blood run cold. The inside of the window was tapping. Slow. Rhythmic. Like someone was on the wrong side of the glass. I bolted upright. And that's when I saw her. The White Lady. She was inside my room. Her gown dragged against the floor, leaving a trail of dirt and water behind her. Her hair hung in clumps, dripping as if she'd just crawled out of a lake. Her skin was so pale it seemed to glow in the dark. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. She leaned toward me, her face inches from mine. Her eyes were black pits, and when she opened her mouth, the scream I had imagined before finally came. A shrill, piercing wail that filled the room without sound, like my ears were splitting even though the air was silent. I covered my face, shaking, tears streaming down. When I opened my eyes again, she was gone. The only proof she'd ever been there was the wet footprint on my bedroom floor, leading back to the window. I tried telling my family again. My dad said I needed sleep. My mom suggested therapy. Even Mia refused to talk about her dreams, so I kept it to myself. Weeks passed, but I never forgot her face. Sometimes I wake up at night and swear I see her reflection in the glass. Sometimes I hear her nails scratching just faintly, as if reminding me she hasn't left. And sometimes I feel her breath against my cheek. Even now, years later, I avoid looking out windows at night. I draw the curtains tight and sleep with the lights on. But no matter what I do, deep down I know the truth. The white lady is still out there, and she knows where I live. If you ever hear tapping at your window after midnight, don't look. Because once you see her, she'll never stop looking back. That was the white lady at my window. If you ever hear tapping on the glass after midnight, remember this story before you dare to look outside. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true horror experiences every week. Until next time, keep your windows closed and your lights on.